Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video notes for the final lesson of our Chapter 0 Preparation for Honors Prep Geometry lesson. Remember that Honors Prep Geometry is designed to prepare you for AP classes in both math and science. So one skill that has been neglected over the last few years that is very important to your science classes in particular is the ability to convert between different units. Feet to inches, feet to miles, centimeters to miles, etc. This ability to go back and forth is a very important thing to have. Now, you should have been working on this a little bit throughout grade school. You should already know the answer to all the questions on this page. For instance, we know that there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. We know that there are 36 inches in 1 yard. We know things like this. For instance, we know there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Okay, these are things that we should already know. Okay, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly here. Some of these might be new to you. It depends on how much exposure you've had to unit conversions. But for instance, some of these, like 12 inches in 1 foot, everyone should be fully aware of. What these are examples of what are called conversion factors. They are equivalent amounts. So because all of these are equations, because the units on the left and the right are equal, we can use these facts that there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour to convert between seconds and hours if we needed to. So what we're doing here is we're doing something called dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is the process of converting between various forms of measurement using multiplication and division. That could be distance, it could be time, it could be weight, it could be force, it could be rate. Anything with units, we can use dimensional analysis to convert back and forth between the different units. And as one of our very famous chemistry teachers here at Speedway would say, if you can carry out dimensional analysis, you can rule the world. Because it gives you an unbelievable amount of power over problem solving. If you're able to carry this out, you can really solve problems really, really, really well. Okay, so first we're going to review how you learn to convert in your junior high classes, in your middle school and elementary school classes. For instance, 438 inches is how many yards? Well, we learned in elementary school that we need to multiply or divide depending on whether we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit or a larger unit to a smaller unit. So for instance, inches into yards, inches are smaller than yards. So we know that we need to divide. And the fact that we're going to use is the fact from the previous page that there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So we're going to take that 438 inches and divide by 36. And what that will do is convert our answer into yards. So we take out our calculator, we do 438 divided by 36, and we get 12. Pen is not behaving. There we go. 12.1666. And that 6 repeats. So it tells us to round to the nearest 10,000th, that is 4 decimal places. So we look at that 5th digit, which is a 6. Since that is greater than 5, that tells us to round the other 6 up, meaning we're looking at 12.1667 yards. Okay? Now, on the next example, example 2, we're going from days into minutes. Well, we can't do that in one step because we don't have one conversion for how many minutes there are in 1 day. But we can go through an intermediate unit, such as hours. Now, because we are going from days to a smaller unit of measurement, minutes, we are going to multiply. So we're going to use the fact that 1 day is equal to 24 hours, and then the fact that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes to convert here. Those are unit conversion factors. So we're going to do 4.5 days times 24 hours per day times 60 minutes per hour. And that will give us the number of minutes in 4.5 days. So again, we break out our calculator, we multiply that out, we get 6,480 minutes. Now, Where this got tricky, and where it continues to be tricky, is when you have to do both multiplication and division to carry out a conversion. And example 3 is supposed to be one of those. We do not have a direct connection between feet and meters in the list that we provided on the previous page. There is an exact number, and when you get to advanced science classes, you'll probably use a one-step estimation of how many feet are in a meter. But for now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use the fact that 1 foot is 12 inches, then the fact that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, then the fact that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter to carry out this conversion. And the challenge is that we actually have to go from a larger unit, feet, to a smaller unit, inches, then to a smaller unit again in centimeters, and then we have to go the opposite direction to go from centimeters to meters. We have to go from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So this is the first place where I'm going to show you actual high school level dimensional analysis. What we're going to do is we're going to write our measurement, 1,243 feet, over 1. When we convert that into inches, we're going to set up a fraction so that feet will cancel out of the equation. This measurement would now be in inches. We're then going to do that again to convert from inches into centimeters. There are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. That will cancel out inches. We are now in centimeters. Then we're going to do that one more time to convert from centimeters to meters. There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Centimeters would then cancel, which means our measurement is in meters. Now, if you look at these individual fractions, 12 inches over 1 foot, those are equivalent numbers, 12 inches and 1 foot, meaning that this entire fraction has a value of 1. So when we multiply our original number by this fraction, we don't change the value, because when we multiply by 1, it stays the same. What we do change are the units, because feet cancel, and now we're in inches. So when we multiply this out like we would any fraction, we multiply straight across. So we do 1,243 times 12 times 2.54 times 1. That is 37,886.64. And we do the same thing on the bottom. 1 times 1 times 1 times 100 is 100. And then we carry out that division. So 37,886.64 divided by 100, which moves the decimal place 2 places to the left and gives us 378.8664 meters. That is dimensional analysis. So let's do some more examples. First off, we're going to use another definition here, and that is the definition of conversion factor. A conversion factor is an equation that compares two different unit measurements and can be written as a fraction that is equivalent to 1. So for instance, 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. That is a conversion factor. And the reason for that is, if we take 12 inches and we put it over 1 foot, that is equal to 1. If we take 1 foot and we put it over 12 inches, that is equal to 1. Since those values are the same, we can turn them into a fraction whose value is 1. Now at the bottom of the page here, I've listed a number of unit conversion factors. And frankly, there are so many more of these. In fact, attached to the School Classroom post where this video is, there's also a copy of the science conversion factor list that is given to our AP Chemistry students by our AP Chemistry teacher. So to say that this is a complete list would be a complete fabrication, a complete lie. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of equations that could be used as unit conversion factors. Okay, so we're going to work through some stuff here. We're going to work through some examples, and we're going to use these factors throughout that time. Okay, so if we want to convert feet into meters, we saw that once already. Okay, we are going to take 3,486 feet, put it over 1. Now we don't have a measurement in our list to go directly from feet to meters. We need to go from feet into inches, which is 12 inches is equivalent to 1 foot. Then we need to go from inches into centimeters. There are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. And then we need to go from centimeters into meters. There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So again, we're going to multiply straight across. So 3,486 times 12 times 2.54 times 1 is 106,253.28. Same on the bottom. 1 times 1 times 1 times 100 is 100. And then we are going to divide, which would give us 1,062.5328 meters. Okay, again, the whole point of dimensional analysis is to make sure that our units that we don't want cancel top to bottom. 5 kilometers into miles. So we put 5 kilometers on top, put it over 1. Again, I don't think we have that in our list. Let's go look here. We do not have a direct measurement between kilometers and miles. Okay, but on our other sheet we might. So what we should do is pull up that other sheet. Let me get that pulled up here real quick. All right, so I pulled up the conversion factor sheet that I'm handing out in class. You'll notice the top half is a metric conversion. We won't use most of that in this class, but down here at the bottom we have a very useful conversion. 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. 1.609 kilometers. So, if we want to go directly from kilometers to miles, okay, again, that conversion was 1.609 kilometers is equivalent to 1 mile. 1.609 is equivalent to 1. So we're really looking at, because kilometers would cancel and we'd be in miles, 5 times 1 is 5 divided by 1.609. So we carry out that division, 5 divided by 1.609, and we get approximately 3.1075. That next digit is a 2, so we're just going to say about 3.1075 miles. Okay, pause the video, try numbers 3 and 4 on your own, then resume the video to see how you're doing. All right, 1 decade is equivalent to 10 years. So we can convert it into years. Then we need to convert years into days. There are 365 days each year. Then we convert days into hours, which is 24 hours each day. And then we convert hours into minutes. Each hour, there are 60 minutes. Notice the entire bottom is 1, so all we need to do is multiply 1 times 10 times 365 times 24 times 60. And a decade has 5,256,000 minutes. Okay, finally, 500 pounds to grams. So again, we're going to go back to that science chart. Pounds into grams. There we go. 1 pound is 454 grams. So 1 pound is 454 grams. Let's just double check that. 454. Yep, okay. So that means that we would multiply straight across 500 times 454, and we'd find that 500 pounds is 227,000 grams. Okay, now, unit conversions, went too far somehow, can actually be used to do a lot more than just these single-dimensional problems we've done so far. They can be used for area, for volume, for rate, really anything where we have any kind of units into any other kind of units. So here are 4 more advanced examples we're going to go through as well, and it will be pretty quick. Because again, we really at this point just need to be able to do single dimensional, but in later classes you're going to need to be able to do no matter what happens. So when we have a rate like 80 miles per hour, what we're going to do is put the first unit, miles, on top, and the second unit, hours, on the bottom. Now when we want to convert from miles per hour to feet per second, what we do is we focus in on just one of those units. So let's say we can start by getting miles turned into feet. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So by multiplying by that conversion factor, we have now converted our rate into feet per hour. So all we need to do is we need to turn hours into seconds and we'll be good. So 1 hour, we need that to cancel, so it has to go on top, is 60 minutes. We are now in feet per minute. And likewise, 1 minute is 60 seconds. So our units are now feet per second. Multiply straight across, 80 times 5,280 is 422,400. And on the bottom, 1 times 1 times 60 times 60 is 3,600. So then we do that division, 422,400 divided by 3,600, and we get approximately 117.3333, and then the next digit is a 3, so we'd round down, feet per second. Okay, same sort of thing when we deal with area or volume. If we look at 500 square inches, okay, the problem is that when we convert from inches into feet, 1 foot is 12 inches, but inches squared doesn't cancel with inches. So what we have to do is actually square the entire conversion factor. This would allow inches squared to cancel and leave us with 500 feet squared over 12 squared, or 500 divided by 144. So we do 500 divided by 144, which is 12 squared, and we get 3.4722. And that next digit is a 2 as well, so we would round down. Try number 7 and 8 on your own, and then resume the video to see how you did. 200 cubic feet over 1. We need to convert that into inches. 1 foot is 12 inches, but this is cubed, so we have to cube the entire units. That gives us 200 times 12 cubed inches cubed. And there's nothing on the bottom, so we just need to do 200 times 12 to the 3rd power, or times 12 times 12 times 12, is 345,600 cubic inches. Finally, 2,000 feet per second is a rate, so we'd put 2,000 feet on top, 1 second on the bottom. We want to convert that into miles per hour, so we'll start by converting feet into miles. 1 mile is 5,280 feet, so now we're in miles per second. Then we need to convert seconds into minutes. Okay, 60 seconds is equivalent to 1 minute, so the seconds would cancel bottom to top, and we're now in miles per minute. And then one more time for minutes to hours. Multiply it out, so 2,000 times 60 times 60 is 7,200,000. And on the bottom, we still have 5,280, so we divide by 5,280 to get approximately 1,363.636, and that in the last 3 rounds up to a 4, and that is in miles per hour. Sorry for the squishing down here at the corner. Okay, so that does it for our notes on dimensional analysis. Thank you very much for your time and attention.